It is another day and another day of Dose of Did You Know? And with me today is such a beautiful soul. We met out in California. We were both co-authors in a book with Les Brown and Ona Brown, his daughter. And man, fell in love with her. I got to sit next to her during the whole ceremony of whatever that thing's called when we promoted, and I don't even know what it's called, but whatever. I was just blown away. But Miss Carol, how are you today?
I am fabulous. Thank you so much, Danny, for having me here. I am so thrilled to be sharing on this broadcast today.
I am excited. So in a little heart-shaped little ball, because I love you so much. Right? Wouldn't be a ball, I guess, whatever this heart shape is, a heart-shaped guru thing. Who is Carol?
Well, Carol is a Southern California girl, and I'm a true Southern California girl. I was blonde, and now I'm brunette, but I found out brunettes can have just as much fun as blonde, if not more. I love the beach, I love the sun, and I love fitness. Those are like my three nutshell things that I'm passionate about. You know, it could be summer all year long, and I would be so happy.
Yeah, well, you're kind of in the state and the place to have that. Not so much here. You would shrivel up and cry if you were here. It would be really hard. You would need those sun lamps if you lived in New Hampshire, where I am. You know, like people. You have actually really good skin for being an outside person.
Well, I thank you. I've taken care of my skin, and it's all my, what we'll talk about a little bit later is all my, habits. I've just developed some really good habits, and that's really helped me a lot.
Yeah. So I want to get right into it, because there's so much about you that I want to share, and I know I'm just going to skim the top of it, but I want to go. I just get ready, Carol. So through your life, there's been, ups and downs and challenges. And when you look into your past, can you see the Carol that there is today, even back there? Which means we're going to have to talk about that so people know. But
yeah.
But do you see yourself like a version of you back then?
I do. In fact, I had a beautiful neighborhood that I had hung out with all my friends, and I was kind of like the leader in the neighborhood. We do the baseball games, we did the acorn fights, and I was kind of the instigator. But the problem is, when I went to school, they found out I had a disability, so they put me in this special room where there was nothing on the walls, and they thought the school was helping me, but it was only taking me down a downward spiral.
Okay, wait. Was it one of those maybe you had ADD or some sort of something like that? And so they're like, let's take all the distractions out and put you in a cell block.
Yeah, I had trouble sitting still. I had trouble focusing, and just so that they thought they were going to solve my problem by putting me in that room, but it didn't. It really affected me emotionally because, see, I'm very social, so I was taken away from my friends, and it made me feel like I was different. Like I just didn't belong. I couldn't measure up. So that was 7 years old. So when I was 7 years old, that stayed with me for many years to come.
Did you when did you realize that was then? Because I'm sure at 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 27, however long it stayed, that you didn't realize that it started back there with that little seed, and maybe no one even said anything, but just the environment of it, and kids aren't stupid. They can see that, okay, well, why am I here? Everybody else is there. I must be different,
Yeah. Well, I never did do well in school. I just had that stigma that I couldn't because of the effect of that room. And then what led me to that in my adult life, I became drinker. And I ended up drinking because I had a low self-esteem, and I thought that was my power. I thought it was my power. I had trouble talking to boys because I was shy. I could take that drink and I could talk to anybody and everybody. And Carol was the life of the party. But when the party was not more the life and I was going down, that's when the Lord Jesus picked me up and said, Carol, let's clean up. I have a better life for you. And that he did. And it was through that process of, connecting with God and putting instrumental people in my life that I really found out really, what was my stumbling block? It was that room that kept staying with me. You know, and we all have something. We all have some sort of room. Mine happened to be a physical room.
Yeah.
That where I had to, really, push through. But, life is so beautiful now from there. And I've become a lot really unrecognizable from those years ago.
Right.
You saw
Yeah.
my picture, even if you saw my picture 20 years ago, I look better now than I
Well,
did.
there is the secret to life. Carol's going to give us really the secret to living life. But how long actually did it take? Because I'm thick. So, like, it takes me a long time. Like, my stigma wasn't my room necessarily, like a physical room, but, I had my son so young. So, I was constantly trying to hide who I was. I was trying to be somebody else. I was always older, so people wouldn't judge me because I was so young. And I was, so that was kind of my, um, my room. It was my room that I had to learn to get over. It took me like, God, really, to be honest, probably my late 30s before I embraced and could speak out loud, like mid 30s, yeah,
Wow.
mid 30s, that I could speak out loud. I was a teenage mother. Like it took me but I said, like again,
Yeah.
I'm sick. You know what I mean? How long did it take?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
really
I'm
curious.
too. I'm thick too. I get that. I'm really thick too. And it took me a while. And it just was like a layering, when I finally, took the turn and started, really growing and developing. And it wasn't like it happened overnight. It was little by little of just peeling up, apart, who I was. And I really feel like it was my 50s. When I turned 50 is when I started flourishing. And that's when I really got involved in taking personal growth workshops and doing kinds of things, that would really grow me. I came really fired up about it. And 50, I think, was my mark.
That was your jam.
Yeah.
Mark Anthony King is watching. He's like, my two co-authors, rising the frequency up in here. Yes, yes. So little love out there to Mark Anthony. Real quick.
Yes.
Can you talk? Because I like steps. I like to be like, okay, I did X, Y, Z. And I like to hear that from other people because then that helps me apply, like, okay, that's not going to work. That's not me at all. But, ooh, this is something that I can apply into my kind of
Yes.
regimen because I'm constantly looking at myself and evolving myself. And it's like layers. I tell people, you think, okay, I had this hurt or this stigma about myself, and you finally feel good about it. And then you realize 5 years go by and you realize something happens and you're like, oh my gosh, that's still with me. Oh, but I'm like, it's layers. We never actually get to an end point. It's a constant growth and peeling back and becoming more healed and more evolved and more spiritually aware. So, like, go back, if you don't mind, into those time when Carol was in there, but she was hiding. She was the fake Carol. She was the beer goggle Carol. That's what were some of the things or the things you thought, it might not have been an action, but something that happened to you that kind of switched you?
Well, I feel like I kind of got scared, I think, when I was, drinking pretty heavily, then I had blackouts, not remembering what I was doing. And it was really like, it scared me a little bit. It scared me a lot.
Yeah.
And so God has been so good, though. He's put so many strategic people in my life. And this lady, it came to me, and Gloria, and she just, she's the one that introduced me to church. But, it was really just a process. And even after, I still had to get cleaned up. I still had to go through the process of really refining myself. But but I found just a new love for myself, because that's why we do anything, is because we don't like ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started finding out who Carol was and unraveling all that. And then I was always whispered the lies that, you're not worthy. You don't measure up. I kept hearing those over and over. And of course, as a young child and even as an adult, I took them as truths. And so that was a peeling off. That was a layering. And so I think I surrounded myself with people that really built me up and really encouraged me. And I went from being afraid to pray in front of, people to leading Bible studies. Just as simple as that. Just starting, I think my biggest thing that I did in life and still do is just say yes. If I know it's going to grow me, and that's what my book is about, say yes to a bigger life. And I've been saying yes ever since I accepted Jesus into my life. It's just been a process of growth and excitement. And now, I'm getting ready to do a webinar here real soon. I mean, if I would have looked back, 20 years ago, I'm like, wow, what are you doing? So I've become really unrecognizable, and life has been super exciting. But I have certain things that I do, and I know we'll talk about later of how that transpired too.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that funny? I always think of that kind of, I don't know if it's a joke, but someone dies and or they're in a boat. I forget how the joke goes, because I'm always like, there's a perfect timing and place, because God does give us who we need. We're just not always open to it at the right time. So
Right.
there's like, this guy's out in a boat and the seas get bad, and God sends him another boat and to rescue him. And the man says, oh, no, God is going to save me. Go on about your way. And then a helicopter comes to rescue him. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. And he sends him away. And then somebody else comes and he finally drowns, and he goes up and God, and he said, God, I thought you were going to save me. He's like, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. You just didn't, you weren't ready to hear, to take it. And I'm like, isn't that the truth that it took? There were probably little signs in your life throughout, but Carol wasn't ready. I mean, that's how I see it for me. There were signs in my life throughout, but they peeled, they chipped away like with a little toothpick. I'm a big ice sculptor, and they were picking away, but I wasn't ready to turn that toothpick into like a pickaxe until certain people hit, and that's what it kind of sounds like to you. And then it was like this spiral effect.
Right.
And I love your philosophy of say yes, but I have to put a big asterisk and really highlight what you said after that. You said it differently than this, but if it aligns with you, if it's where your heart is, if it's where your morals are, you say yes to it. That's first of all, that's scary. And how do you know what to say yes to? Because sometimes we get confused by our egos that have been manipulated through the years, from that dark room, or not dark room, but that empty room, and people telling you their version or their understanding of you. So how did you figure out how to say yes to the right things?
Well, the funny thing is, in my late 40s, I went back to school. So I knew at first I was just taking a couple classes because I was, working with kids, and I just take a couple classes, and I decided to go ahead and, get my degree. And I knew that was the right yes. I had to prove it to myself that I could be successful in school. And, I ended up having a 3.9, and that was a great yes. But see, I feel like, God has put me in full circle with a lot of things. So 20 years ago, I walked into a Toastmasters, and I brought right back out because they were doing table topics and it scared me. But 7 years ago, I was invited to Toastmasters again. And like you say, the timing is right. And I gravitated to it. I walked into an amazing group of people that were excited, that were supporting one another. And because I said yes to that, I'm talking to you today. I believe that. So transpired. I mean, I had
the ripple effect.
Exactly.
Were you nervous that 7 years ago was going to be like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
But you just did it anyways.
I did it.
You had built up enough.
You're in the right place, the right time, and you'd say yes. And now the yeses, some of them have been hard. I saw my friend on Facebook. We were in a group together, and she went skydiving. I said, if Brenda can do it, I can do it too. And I became a skydiver. Now that was never in my makeup. This is a girl that was afraid to go on Disneyland rides. So you just have to bend and grare it, and whatever it is. And that step, just being the skydiving, has helped me so many other areas. Sometimes I get nervous about doing things. I'm like, Carol, you're a skydiver. Come on, you can do it.
Shoot, yeah. Like skydiving scares the bejeebus out of me. But you're like, I love like that you do things that really challenge you. So it doesn't have to be like, okay, this aligns with me. Like I said, this aligns with me morally, this aligns with, but it was fearful and you want to break the cycle of fear. So you're just like, that aligns with breaking the cycle of fear,
Yeah.
skydiving. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, a religious moral or design for your business model or, those kinds of things. This is more like fixing, not fixing because we're not broken, that's the wrong word, but evolving you. You don't want to be fearful. So you're going to do actually things that are scary. And
Yeah.
then you can use that to be like, hey, I'm so flippin' brave because, yeah, Carol, you are so flippin' brave.
Yeah. Well, one of my values is adventure. I'm an adventurous girl, and I just like, it's like one guy described it to me. He says, it's almost like you're in the park and you're trying every piece of equipment to see which one's going to be fun. And I feel
Yeah,
like, that's my life. Let's try this.
that guy's pretty darn right. That is
Yeah.
kind of how you are. I want to say hi real quick to Andrew. Andrew's watching. He's from Tennessee.
Hi,
He's
Andrew.
yes, he's one of my heroes. You'll meet him. He's a great guy who's kind of yeah, he's just wonderful. But so let's move on to the place where now I've met you. So we've seen like the little bits of Carol, and we've seen, and you've told me how you've kind of like you hacksawed away at those things that you've been told. That's not a very fancy way of saying it, but
Yeah.
the strongholds that you've been
Yeah.
under your whole life. You've whacked away at it. So where does that bring you now?
Oh my gosh, life is so good. I mean, I'm in a great place in my life right now. One thing that I started doing 2 years ago was great morning habits. Those habits have changed my life. We hear all the time in these books. You do the thing, daily. You do things consistently every day, and it'll get you to your goal. And
Right.
boy, that is true. One of the things I do is have a solid morning routine, because if you can win the morning, you can win the day. And that's really what I'm passionate about, helping people. And when I talk to my clients, because I'm an empowerment coach, when I talk to my clients, that's the first thing I address is where are you in your morning habits? Because like I said, when you win that time,
Uh-huh.
and even you just start where you're at. I started just getting up earlier. Now I do a whole list of things. And it's probably about a 2.5 morning routine before I'm even, out there, starting the day. But it's been beneficial. I'm 135 days in of exercising every single day. But that happened because of a morning routine and consistency. So consistency is the key to anything in life. And so I think my biggest growth has been skyrocketed in the last 2 years.
So what did you have to like kind of take a transition of what worked for your morning? Because like I'm not a morning person, especially after my car accident. I have brain damage. Like I need sleep. If I get up early, my pain levels are just through the roof. So I kind of gave up. Like I was like, okay, I'm never going to be that person that like wins by waking up 30 minutes early, because it just, I had to adjust with, physical things that it were. But for me,
Yes.
I was like making my bed and it's so crisp, like you find in a hotel. Just that, I gotta say, that really gets me like high. I look at it and I'm like, dang, okay, so I can't get up early because it hurts, but I can make a badass bed.
Oh my gosh, that's so
But
cool.
did you have to like go through that of like, okay, this does not work for Carol and this does?
Yeah, I also just want to address that, because sometimes the routine is in the evening, not always in the morning. It just depends on people. I mean, because you can have
Sure.
a good evening routine as well that would be just beneficial. But it just, I've always been a morning person. I mean, waitressing, I was waking up at 5:30 to 1:30 shifts. And so I've always just really loved the morning. And there's nothing better than walking out at 6 o'clock and doing my walks. I just
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. So,
How do you stay motivated um, to exercise every single day?
That's a good question. What I do, this is one of my habits that I've developed. Soon as I get up, my gym clothes go on. So it tells me, Carol, you're going to work out today. As soon as I get up. And so
Yeah.
that I've been able to do it for 135 days.
So it's just like that habit.
Yeah. And I love the results. I love the results it gives me. This is why you commented me on my skin. I drink a lot of water. I exercise. So it's everything I'm putting inside. It shows on the outside.
Yeah. 135 days worth. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And how old do you think I am?
Well, I know you're not 50 because that's what I was going to say. I was going to say like, I know early 50s, but you gave that away. So I have no idea actually.
This girl from Southern California is 64. Well, actually next month I'm going to be my 65. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. So
64 never felt better.
I mean, here we go. This is one of the things I'm going to wrap Carol up here for 2 seconds and why she just won my heart so much when I met her was look at the cards that are stacked. Like if you look at the cards that are stacked against Carol, we're like just as blatantly as her skin. She lives in California. She should not have good skin unless she spends a lot of money on plastic surgery because she is in a sunny place. She did not grow up with this loving, you are the most amazing, smartest, child, at all. She took control of her life. It took a long time and, a lot of ups and downs to get there, but she took control of it. And that little adventurous girl that was playing that you told me the first thing you said, that little 6-7-year-old girl that was like running the playground or the neighborhood with your energy is that same Carol that I love so much. It's perfect. That's a perfect analogy that guy had. It's like, what came out of your mouth? I love it. That just hit me so much. That just was like so emotional for me. I'm having my own emotional like awakening about Carol here for a minute.
I have a way of doing that.
Oh my gosh. So how would you describe your passion? Or what gets that fire in you? What's Carol's passion?
Gosh, first of all, my family. I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a financial legacy. I want to leave a legacy of, that you can do it too for my girls. That really gets my fire lit. But I think mostly is I want to impact people. And I've seen it on a level in my coaching business. And I push a girl into, getting out there on lives and doing them now. And one girl, she wakes up and says, I'm a winner every day. When you change one life, you want to change more. So that's what wakes me up. That's what gets me excited. I love to see people smile. I love to see the people win. When they win, it blesses me. And we all can win together. We can all, overcome what's ever coming in our minds. We can become unstoppable. It's just, getting, like I said, getting those habits and getting a little solidified and knowing who you are. I think that's what happened to me. I really started to really understand who I was and what I wanted. And when you take ownership of that and give yourself permission, there's nothing you can't do in this life. Nothing.
Man, there you go. That is why you are such a successful empowerment coach because you walked the walk. You're not talking out your ass. Pardon my French out there. You are, it is tried and true. And another thing that I have to just say is that when, it's not your way or the highway. You look at people as an individual. Like I said, mornings just don't work. And I told you one, you're like, oh, you didn't even question me. You just do it at night or you do this. Like it's not your way or the highway. That shows complete caring. This is not about your ego. This isn't about fulfilling Carol's, whatever. This is about giving tools, giving gifts, giving a little bit of you to whoever it is that you meet, whether you're working with them or they're watching you, or you're working with them. It's across the board. It's the same.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got to be that model for people. And I want to, when I'm doing lives every day and I just want to bring value to people. I mean, that's all. I mean, I think it's really important to give, just give, and then it always comes back to you in other ways. So it's really important to just show up and be you. And, and I think one thing is I'm really learning, even at this late age, I'm learning to be my authentic self. I'm just
Yeah.
taking away all the barriers of who is, and some of these childhood memories have come back, and I was even in tears just yesterday thinking about that. Just how much I love orchestrating that neighborhood. I mean, we had like 20 kids on our block. We probably had a preschool, and it was, I just love doing that. I love inspiring people. So even at age 7 and 8, I was inspiring people.
You were. And I bet you some of those people, if we could ever find them all, someone would be like, those are some of my best memories. We don't know how we touch people. Like,
Yeah,
so someone's probably like, that is a huge fun childhood memory that they had that you organized.
yeah, yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Really quickly, before I ask my last question, I can't wait to hear what your answer is to it. Anybody that's out there tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so 1 o'clock Eastern time, and figure it out your time zone in between. I just got those two. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. The Power of You. It's a webinar. Is it a webinar?
Yes, it's a webinar.
Okay, so I'll put the link in this afterwards. So if you want to know Carol a little bit more, find out, why I love her so much and why I know you're going to, you can click on it and get, what, this is so exciting that it's tomorrow. You don't even have to wait a long time. Just, whoop, there you are. All right, so here's my last question. It is my favorite question because I think it does so much for me. This is a selfish question for me. It helps me. But in this moment, right now, today, Carol, what does love mean to you?
I think you got to love yourself first, because you have to love you, because when you love you, that's when you start being authentic. So many times we put the hammer on our head and we're like thinking, bad thoughts of ourselves. We're judging ourselves. Even like my client the other day, she was judging herself. And I said, okay, let's talk about your wins. And she had a list of wins. So, she was going on the judging, but when she found the win, she had so many. And I think we are so hard on ourselves as human beings. So I think that would be one thing. Love yourself so that you can love others. That's key to life. You can't give what you don't have. And that's what I'm really passionate about. And that's why I've learned to take care of myself. It's like self-care, because I want to empower others. But how am I going to empower others if I'm not empowered myself? It's not possible. So I think that would be the most important person that you can empower is you. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot tomorrow. The power of you.
Yeah, that is it is right on, because we're constantly changing. So that love of what
Yeah.
we know, we have to be open to accepting what it looks like now, not
Mhm.
a year from or a week ago. It's those winds of love.
You can change the world just by loving yourself. You
Yeah.
really can.
That's true. It's true, because it's the ripple effect. Like you said, we would not know each other if you hadn't changed. We would not know each other if I hadn't changed. We wouldn't know Mark Anthony if each of us hadn't changed. And it just goes on and on and on and on. I was thinking this morning when I was getting ready, I was thinking of, like how we have a family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all have a family tree, and I really believe that a lot of our strongholds and our blessings come from genetic roots that we have no idea
I agree.
about. So then I was thinking, gosh, what if we had a connection tree? I don't really have a fancy name for it, but if it's like this one person was placed in my life. Now, I might not have gotten along with them. It might have ended up bad, or it might have ended up good. But what came from that, right? Who came into my life, good or bad? How is my mindset, right? And we can trickle down. I don't know. But when you just said loving yourself, it all comes down to that connection of that family tree for me. That's where it sits with what you said on my heart, because you can actually visually see the ripple effect of loving yourself if you can graph it out like that.
Yes, I agree.
I think I'm going to do it.
I think you do it already. always show up. You always show up with such excitement, and like I said, we clicked when we first met. We clicked instantly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was one of one of my huge takeaways from that moment, from that little experience that we had and continuous. So but I have to wrap up because I started talking about something else. Like I gotta stay focused, my timeline and respecting of your time. And Carol, thank you so much. And for taking a moment. It's early. Well, it's not too early out there, but it's earlier than noontime where you are. But letting us interrupt your morning routine and sharing just your love and your passion. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. I've already started my day pretty well because I had my Toastmaster meeting and did my speech this morning.
Oh my God, you're on fire. That is why it is your song.
There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh.
I will see you later. Thank you so
much. To everybody. Thank you, audience. I love this day. It's going to be great. Go make it an amazing day. Thanks so much, Danny.
You are so welcome.
Take care.
Okay.
Oh my